Welcome, everybody. We should have Maxim joining soon. In the meantime, I'm Brian, and we'll be going over lots of the biggest subjects in crypto and what are driving markets right now, as well as what the detailed numbers and metrics are indicating in terms of what's around the corner as we get toward the middle portion of August here. This year's really flown by. I'm sure some of you feel the same way, but overall, another good year so far for crypto, and we're seeing lots of positive signs right now, particularly as the title indicates from large cap altcoins. So many assets like XRP, Chainlink, and of course Ethereum, which is knocking on the door of 4,000 as we speak, are really going, I wouldn't call it supernova, but the level right below that, they're climbing at a rate that many people are pleased with if they've been stubbornly holding top cap altcoins for much of the year. This is a pleasant sight for them, especially because they're really surging above most of the rest of the markets right now. There are others like Dogecoin and Cardano doing pretty well also. But overall, we'll be doing kind of an exploration on some of the topics that are driving markets, and also looking at some of those top cap assets, and of course, a little bit of a Bitcoin rundown as well. So for starters, OpenAI launching ChatGPT 5, obviously a big deal, not necessarily directly related to crypto, but certainly adjacent to it. Crypto and AI do go hand in hand, and there are many projects such as Render that I and many on the team keep an eye on. And Render itself has been doing pretty well lately, as have a lot of other big data and AI projects. There's a lot of discussion between GPT-5 and the latest version of Grok, which is good. We want healthy competition like that in the space, as it really drives the best from both as they compete to be number one. Similar to how we see a lot of these altcoins, such as Ethereum, which has been seeing a lot more mentioning of the flippening. I remember 2016, 2017, when many people were talking about Ethereum eventually overtaking Bitcoin and being the crypto to triumph and be at the top of the chain in terms of what all other cryptos depend on, the way we all know of Bitcoin as we know of 17 years into crypto. Moving to the number 2 spot, we see the by the way, I want to point out that we are on the trending stories tab, which is just about 3 weeks old now in terms of being public. So if you haven't checked it out yet, it's right there in the middle of the social trends tab, second one down. So make sure you check this on a daily basis. I think it's one of the coolest tools we have. I digress. Let me get back to our list. So Donald Trump signing an executive order allowing crypto like Bitcoin and Ethereum to be included in 401ks. So this is huge for Americans, especially those who believe in crypto for the long term, as I'm sure many of you do. They can now invest in them in their retirement plans directly. So that's been obviously a bullish reaction. I don't think it's the kind of buy the rumor, sell the news situation, because this is a supposedly permanent fixture. I'm sure other presidential candidates in the future could repeal this or change it, but for now, it's a very good sign for Americans who at least want to have the option for exposure, and more options typically leads to good results. The Ripple appeal ending. So yes, I know we've seen headlines across social media and through many different media outlets talking about XRP and Ripple and how the appeal is finally done, or the SEC is finally coming to an agreement. I remember about a month ago, there was the rumor of the $50 million settlement and how it was actually blocked, forcing things to move forward. Well, this appears to actually be the end. The official end of the SEC versus Ripple legal battle after both parties jointly dismissed their appeals. This closes a 5-year dispute over XRP's regulatory status, confirming XRP is not a security on exchanges. The ruling provides clear regulatory guidance. And yes, XRP has gone on a run. We'll get to XRP. It's actually up way more than 10%, now, surpassing what the AI summary is noting here. A couple other ones: Stephen Miran, pro-Bitcoin economist, current chair of the Council of Economic Advisors, has been appointed. He's temporarily filling a vacant seat, and he supports lower interest rates and believes Bitcoin should play a meaningful role in US monetary policy. Great news for crypto overall. It's hard to argue otherwise. As this administration continues to prove that it's very pro-crypto, regardless of what you think about the President of the United States and some of his other policies. I mean, generally, during his 7 months of tenure now, crypto has seen a lot more freedom and ability to thrive with little restriction, kind of the opposite of what we saw with Gary Gensler and a lot of the what many crypto people found very heavy-handed in terms of his regulations. So this is yet another individual who has been nominated for the chair of the Council of Economic Advisors in this situation. And last but not least, I'm just going to go over, well, I'll touch 6 too, because I think that's kind of the theme of this video. Number 5 is the Chainlink Reserve being announced, and it's a strategic on-chain link token pool funded by converting off-chain and on-chain revenue. This reserve aims to reduce sell pressure and supports long-term network growth and sustainability. Long story short, this is an initiative that many traders have gotten behind and have pumped prices as a result. I think we're nearing $20, may have already surpassed it in terms of market value. It's been on a pretty significant run just in the past 24 hours. It'll be another coin we cover as we get over to the metrics. And then finally, the Ethereum and altcoin rally. So we mentioned a lot of top caps in particular are thriving at the moment in terms of their market values. Ethereum leading the way, 1.8 million Ethereum bought recently, including a new $5 billion treasury fund filing. Lots more institutionals getting into the game through Ethereum. I talked about this in an episode yesterday with Equities Tracker, and how overall, sometimes the institutional money, when it first comes in, can actually have a negative impact followed by a long-term rise. So even the biggest money and the biggest key stakeholders, if they make a sudden huge purchase and they make it public, it kind of causes a wave of FOMO that can flatten the price or make it go down. I think that's kind of what we saw in the last month when we were looking in the July period of time. But now we're really starting to see a lot of rallying as Ethereum reaches 4K or about to reach 4K. I'd be shocked if it doesn't in the very near future on the backs of this news. So we're going to look at Ethereum, plenty of altcoins. We may have Maxim with us, who probably has been patiently waiting for me to finish the countdown here. Brother Max, are you with us? Not yet. All right, I'll just wait for him to chime in and I'll keep on going. And in the meantime, of course, for people watching the stream on YouTube, feel free to drop your questions. I know we don't get many, but when we do, they're really solid and we love to explore what you guys have your mind on. So another thing we're keeping an eye on, even though Bitcoin has been rather flat, sitting at about 116K, the key stakeholders, those holding between 10 to 10K BTC, have been climbing pretty consistently, as we see over the past year. Interesting to see that since mid-July, about 3 weeks ago, they've actually declined a bit, moving down about 35, 36K in terms of total BTC. Not a lot by any means, but we do need to see continued upward movement over time. I know eventually, the entire market cap can't be exhausted, so they can only hold so many, and retailers are always going to have a place. But we still generally see more and more climbing in order to justify higher prices. So slightly concerning to me that the BTC key stakeholders have taken a backseat, likely due to some of the big accumulation we're seeing in top caps right now. So they're merging over to some other altcoins for the time being. But just know that the ultimate bull cycles, the times when we see the biggest surges, are when Bitcoin's key stakeholders are moving up and accumulating more alongside those top cap altcoins. Okay, so supply and exchanges, we don't need to see stable coins for the moment, but I do want to point out that Bitcoin supply is remaining low. Not a lot of concern. The last time we really saw a jump was at the all-time high in mid-July, where people were selling off very likely many of the large players in the game. Jumped up here, they sold off, and then they came back to earth, and we're staying low for the moment. Take the number with a grain of salt, but right now it's showing just 6.14% of BTC's supply is on exchanges. Social dominance staying pretty high. You can see that compared to a year ago, this pink blob of an area was much lower, and we've been climbing, especially right at the all-time high, not a coincidence. We saw major FOMO here and major FUD here. This was during about a month. I sound robotic. Let's try to fix that really quick. Aha, I think I see the issue. Still here. Do I sound okay? Okay. I don't know if that happens again. Sorry, folks, for the interruption. So yeah, social dominance still staying quite high. The biggest spikes very often are those trend reversal indicators. So pay attention when you see anything like this, which was a great bottom indicator, even though we had one more a month later with the tariff announcements. And then this was a great top indicator. So long story short, social dominance can either, man, one moment, test. Test. Okay. A permanent solution because I'm still using, no good? All right. One moment, guys. Sorry for the delay. Test. Okay. Sometimes you just got to fully restart the microphone, and that's what I did here. So we'll see if that sticks this time. Uh, I should sound nice and clear. Okay. All right. So thank you all for your patience, whether you're watching this on record or live, especially those watching live. I know technical difficulties happen, so appreciate it. Okay, so we made our point on social dominance. It's a good direction indicator reversal. In terms of some of the other sectors, the S&P 500 has mostly taken a bit of a backseat. You can see how close Bitcoin is still aligned with it, but there have been moments where they've broken a bit. Meanwhile, gold has actually surged. So this is generally due to the continued lack of confidence in the dollar and fiat in general, which has kind of gone down throughout Trump's presidency. I mean, it's been consistently below 100 for a while now. And I think the S&P should recover. It's obviously difficult to predict. There have been new tariff announcements with the 100% semiconductor tariff announced a couple days ago by Trump. But yeah, overall, what we would love to see is a bit of a break between Bitcoin's price and the S&P 500. And there are some recoveries. Here we go. That's better. There were a few days that were missing on the axis. So the S&P, there we go. There we go. So the S&P is getting close to that all-time high again with Bitcoin's price starting to catch up, but you can see that it's been playing a bit of catch up here. Obviously, Bitcoin is mostly flat compared to a lot of altcoins today that have been thriving. And then gold up here, as mentioned, still pushing all-time highs, like I mentioned, due to the lack of confidence in the dollar right now. And I'm going to just quickly move on to some of the key Bitcoin metrics now. The first one being transaction volume, which has really sunken all the way back down to neutral for the time being. Active addresses, still showing promising signs that it's fine. Circulation still staying quite low. We'd love to see circulation pick up. This is the amount of unique tokens moving on a daily basis. And you can see times, especially here at the all-time high, where it really spikes up. This is a pretty good reversal indicator, as is network growth, where we did see a jump on Tuesday. MVRV is probably the most important one in terms of swing trading. And we're seeing that it's about neutral on the 30-day and about plus 20% on the 365-day. So overall, a little bit of a risk if you plan on jumping in now. We're still waiting to see if the long-term traders start to drop down a bit in terms of their average profits. But for now, they're still going very strong in terms of their overall success. So if you jump in now, you're doing so while there already has been a lot of success in what's otherwise usually a zero-sum game. Funding rates, you can see overall a little bit of a long bias right now. That's what this bright green is indicating. A little bit of shorting here. What a coincidence. As prices drop, the crowd gets unruly and decides they want to bet against Bitcoin, and ultimately that leads to liquidations that can only help fuel the bounce harder. And now that the bounce has happened, we're seeing a lot more longs, which can risk halting the rally. So we're hoping to see these longs that are nice and bright here start to look a little more like this, with a little more of a neutrality to them. Whale transactions. So pretty neutral. I'm not really seeing much activity. Again, it just matters mostly what the whales are doing in terms of accumulation or dumping. And this just tells us their overall amount of transfers. And it's mostly staying flat for now. Also, while we're at the supply distribution, we can look at the bottom three tiers. We want to see overall the retailers moving down in terms of their supply. Make sure this is a brighter color. Yeah, so they're mostly moving up, maybe a little bit of a down movement over the past 24 hours, but overall, not quite the perfect picture. Just like we saw with MVRV, they've actually jumped about a very small percentage of the entire supply, 0.004% or so, over the past 2.5 weeks. The biggest rallies, as I can illustrate here by adding on the price, generally happen when the retailers are moving down. So here, this is a sign of FUD where they're taking profit. And look at that, all of a sudden prices go nuts. So they didn't believe in this rally that happened in late June all the way through mid-July. And then when it really took off and hit that all-time high, they actually changed their tune and they started to buy back in. And their buying back in allowed whales to sell at a premium price and choose when they want to start buying back in themselves. And as we saw, the whales are actually taking profit since this point as well. So it's a really interesting dynamic where retailers are now buying back some of their supply, and whales and sharks aren't exactly selling off like crazy, but they're definitely moving slightly down. And that's a little bit of a concern for the long term, despite all of this partying going on with top caps right now. Mean dollar invested age, we talked about this in a few previous episodes, but the rally of dormant tokens moving and creating younger and younger Bitcoin has mostly taken a break over the past 8 to 10 days. It's starting to move back up, indicating the network is getting just ever so slightly more stagnant again. So look to see if we can get some more dormant movement, maybe due to a push above 120K again that causes a lot of dormant coins to move, and that would help spark another rally that would maybe see us see another all-time high. Network realized profit loss, not much special going on here. Supply and exchanges we talked about, still low. Social dominance we talked about, and it's still on the higher end, which is good. It's good to have eyes on Bitcoin as we still tease the 123K all-time high. It's not far off from that. RSI is about neutral to about 55. 50 is average. And then, yeah, you can see the total amount of holders. This supplements my point that I made about the 0.1 or less crowd and how they have been FOMOing in for a bit now. You can see this big jump that occurred on Tuesday. All right, before we go to Ethereum, Chainlink, and XRP, I want to take a look at our alpha narratives. So we talked about some of the news and the things driving markets over the past 24 hours. Let's look at the entire past week and see from a more zoomed out perspective which subjects saw spikes during respective days. We see Bitcoin versus fiat seeing a huge discussion at the beginning of the week where people were discussing the value overall for the long term. Here we see a big AI discussion. You obviously saw that in the past 24 hours, GPT-5 has been making a lot of waves. Meme coins in the middle of the week, this is usually a top signal. You don't want to see meme coins getting a ton of discussion. It's almost always due to a bunch of price surges. I know that Dogecoin is making a bit of a run today and several other meme coins as well. Bitcoin's price went along with the discussion of Bitcoin versus fiat. Ethereum's price, about a day and a half later, made its own headlines and a lot of discussion surrounding that. Emotions in trading, very interesting to see. So the psychological factor of trading has been on people's minds as of late. You can see here GameFi had its run, with crypto gaming being the real alpha in the GameFi sector. The MapleStory Universe team being passionate about the game and blockchain technology. Rebel Cars delivering multiple games. So there's been a few different GameFi projects that are getting a lot more attention these days. Ethereum overall, this big spike that went along with the Ethereum price discussion at the same time. The troll token, so this has been a trending topic. it's a Solana meme coin seeing significant price increases and high trading volumes, mentions of trolls and trolling behavior, Troll and others criticizing those who doubted its potential. So a lot of people who got into Troll early are doing a bit of gloating and talking about how they saw the pump coming and are kind of shaming others who did not get in along with them. So if we look at Troll's price, yeah, you can see exactly what they're talking about. From the bottom, right around July 24th until that top, it surged over 1,000% before seeing a bit of a retrace very recently. Since it's a Solana meme coin, we don't have much other data on it. I do want to look at social volume while we're here, because this is going to tell a story. We'll just look at dominance by itself. And so this was when it first got a lot of attention. This was the bottom, and a lot of polarizing opinions about the latest meme coin and people rolling their eyes, not really thinking much of it. And then it goes on this plus 1,034% run. And suddenly it sees finally a ton of recognition right at the top. What a coincidence. So the FOMOers start to get in, and they believe the Troll's just going to keep going. And suddenly they're left holding the bags and the price goes down. Meme coins in general, this is such a valuable metric for it. Looking at the social aspect and how much people are paying attention to it will often give you exactly the information you need in terms of when the price reversals are going to come. Yeah, so that's just a quick digression into Troll, because it had a lot of attention throughout the week, really, after it finally hit its top and hit that social dominance spike. A minor spike for Union build. This is the U ticker mainnet launch, the progress and developments of Union build, the zero knowledge interoperability concept, Comet BLS consensus layer, and the Mad Yaps campaign. Pump.fun, crypto community on Twitter is currently discussing the recent Pump Fun event, which seems to have had a negative impact on the industry. Despite this, there are still some positive signs for Pump, the meme coin, and the team behind Pump is showing signs of waking up with optimism for a potential super cycle to begin. And then XRP here, even though it's showing some minor spikes, I know that it's getting some attention in terms of its social dominance due to its pump right now. We'll do a full analysis on XRP right now, and then we'll do Ethereum and Chainlink as promised. Of course, if there are any requests in chat, please let us know, and we'll take a look at those as well. All right, transaction volume. So XRP's big spike, I actually posted about this on X. Check this out. So you see the previous spikes in transaction volume here in pink and circulation in green. June 6th and right around July 1st, big spikes here. And then all of a sudden, huge transaction volume spike, and we bounce up, just like we saw these bounces happen when there were surges in the past. So this latest one, it's actually up more than 10.1% now, but this latest one kind of foreshadowed that, and it could have been due to the dismissal or the impending dismissal at the time on August 2nd. For whatever reason, it allowed XRP to really start to thrive, and these on-chain indicators are often exactly what the culprits or the trigger points are behind them. So I thought that was interesting. Circulation, same thing. I'm not surprised. MVRV, though, it's way up there now. Long-term investors are up an average of 51%, and then short-term at about plus 6.1%. So we saw a little bit of risk with Bitcoin. It's a lot more magnified with XRP right now. It doesn't mean XRP is a bad investment. It just means if you buy in right now and you're trying to time it precisely, you'd be doing so at heavy risk due to the fact that the crowd is already up so much money in both the short term and the long term. So a cool off period, if you're trying to play the mathematical game, would be a a necessary requirement in order to find that perfect entry point. Unlike Bitcoin, though, XRP isn't seeing anything special on the funding rate side, completely neutral for the time being. That's great. Whale transactions. Look at how much whales really jumped in right around that local top. I know it made one more quick all-time high, or not all-time high, but another quick local top 3 days later. But this was kind of the indication that we probably were going to see a bit of a downswing. That's exactly what happened. Now whales are cool once again. And if we take a look at the...
jumped out, Brian. Hi.
Oh, I hear someone.
Yeah, it's me.
Your microphone is choppy, Brother Balance. Would you mind potentially switching them or restarting it?
Wait a second.
All right, I'll just continue while Maxim is setting up his mic. I wanted to point out that if we look at some of these small, we'll just do, just like we saw with Bitcoin, we'll do up to 0.1 XRP, and we'll have that directly go against wallets with at least 100,000. So that's sharks and whales. And we're just going to take off everything else.
And now, is it better?
Not better, Maxim. You're still a little bit robotic. It's like, oh, really? That's interesting.
I'm not a robot. I'm.
So it's exclusively a robot in my own headphones.
Well, I will start asking some questions here.
I think it may be related to my screen share. Good. It's good on YouTube. I'm just checking. Maxim, can you say something?
Oh yeah, I can. I can say a lot of things.
Okay. Well, I think you may be better. For some reason, I had echo cancellation on, as the stream just saw. So I've disabled that. Why don't we back up for a minute now that you're here? I'd love to hear your take on where we are in crypto and what you think about Bitcoin's kind of flat performance as opposed to a lot of the altcoins that have been surging lately.
Isn't it supposed to be the classic way of building the final top?
Yeah.
Bitcoin made it. Now it's alt season, right?
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
If Bitcoin is not really moving up, but altcoins are suddenly all jumping, a bit of a concern because we need Bitcoin to lead the way, and that's just not what's happening at the moment.
Correct. Yeah, that's a short summary. Yeah.
Yeah. So, in particular, we're having some news-driven events with, Chainlink's reserve driving up Link's price, XRP's appeal ending, which is driving up its price.
Yeah.
So many people are getting excited about some of the top caps right now, but this isn't necessarily the greatest news, especially when we looked at some of the very high MVRVs so far, especially for XRP. It's just very particularly high at the moment. Are there any other assets in particular? Maybe we talk Ethereum for a moment, because I would love to hear your take, and I know a lot of people have their eyes on it as it's teasing 4,000. What have you seen about Ethereum as I pull up some metrics here?
Last time we talked, actually, I wasn't here last week. I was 2 weeks before, right?
Yeah.
We wanted to check a few things which are not directly Ethereum metrics, but they can reveal the story behind. Some of them were, and I think now it's still relevant, maybe even more. if we took the price of some altcoins on top of BTC. I don't remember the list which we agreed on, just to show how when really alt season like flourishes and peaks. I think we wanted to take some old meme coins like Doge, some newer one. I don't remember. Probably we wanted to take Bonk, and maybe some coins which, when they pump, you're in danger. And you mentioned Ripple. Nothing against Ripple, but typically the way how so far market worked, when Ripple, Cardano, and let's say one of Polkadot or Cosmos pumping, okay, then it's a dangerous time. Yeah? All of them. Yeah, all of them like beating Bitcoin. Normally shouldn't happen. And this one chart layout, but I don't know if you have it handy. We can also visit it next week. As I think if even we're in dangerous territory, it will take some time now to really, once you are in grid mode, it can easily be fed by hidden marketplace. But the second one, do you have handy, or I can share with you the price of the money, like lending, borrowing chart layout? The one I always like to look into it.
I think I still do. I remember. Yeah, here we go. Probably the first one right here.
Probably, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So you see the very, very first chart. This is where I'm looking at. Just to others who on the stream, we don't use it so often. It's normally to identify like bigger shifts and trends, which don't happen like every week. But here on the chart, green, of course, is the price. In this case, price of Ethereum. And then there are a few lines. One line is this kind of yellowish. I think it's combined deposits into stable yield 4.5%, which MakerDAO in the past and now Sky are given. And this reveals following. Anyone on the stream, you can think or challenge or ask questions, but I'm thinking like this. When the market is going up, and there are always few phases. One is disbelief, or like let's say concern, or wall of worry, and this which we see on this yellow line when deposits to what gives you 4.5% per year, which at that time when people deposit, well, this is a very good yield, because the market unsecure, unclear what will happen next, God knows. 4.5% is very good. So the deposit in mass, and you saw it, yeah? And then there is point of recognition, some point of time when at least some part of participants who deposit say, okay, wait a second. Now market is really pumping, maybe it's indeed alt season, so they pull it out. And then you've seen this kind of decreasing trend when they say yellow line start a little bit correcting. So, but it's not critical yet. At least I don't see very, very, very strong decrease or like flat over time when we really like pump and just flat or decrease. But we start seeing it now. You saw this the last several weeks. If it stays like this, is it latest data? My screen somehow is a little bit.
Yeah, so it's up to today.
Okay.
Technically,
Maybe take last
daily, so it's yesterday.
Take last 3 months just to see the. And then again full chart. Okay, so you see what is. I found it fascinating when I was looking into it last week. So I convinced myself still to hold Ethereum. It was not easy. I was criticized, by some of team members, but mostly because of this chart. And team members who actually appreciate the view and they're smart, but it was not easy. But this chart, you see, the price was kind of flat or even fall down and start increasing, but the amount of deposit into this MakerDAO and Sky is much more now, the MakerDAO, actually increased. So it was still revealing the level of worry persistent in the market. And when you see the level of worry on growing price, it means expectation is it will either go down or sideways, it will not pump. So you convince yourself, okay, I stay a little bit longer. So this is chart I'm looking to it at the moment. I know if it's so easy to follow the story, What do you think about it, Brian?
Yeah, I'm curious. So the way I'm understanding it
This one,
is
yeah, this one,
the
yeah.
total stable supplied is the
Yes.
most
It's a formula,
important
yeah. If you
one.
click on it, I think it's a formula, yeah. Is it? Yes, there is the
Yeah,
expression. Yeah,
it's combining the MakerDAO DSR total
yeah,
supplied along with the Sky Savings total supplied.
correct. So also for other people, you maybe you don't know, we have formulas. You can combine a lot of metrics inside to get just one, in this case, specific number, how much money is being deposited to what considered to be the best risk reward.
Mm-hmm.
Stable 4.5, it's not much, but there are times when you say, well, 4.5, it's really a lot. And there will be times when you say, well, 4.5, it's nothing, so I need to move it somewhere else, because there will be a lot of yielding opportunities, a lot of programs, God knows. And just look at the amount, because it's also, I think I put in excess. It's a sizable, 2 billion, I think. Is it? I don't see on screen.
Yeah, it's about just under 4 billion, 3.99.
Oh, you see it. So we're not talking about 10 mil, 100 mil. It's a sizable amount of money from all DAI or Sky in circulation. It's actually a very big amount. And yeah, I will probably come out with a bit more for the next week, as I'm also looking in something more complicated or not yet clear track record based on USDE or Athena in principal token, yield token. It's very complex. For me, complex. I don't know, maybe someone else would find it easier. But we have the time series of a long period of time and trying to make understanding what it means. I'm not ready yet, but maybe next week I will come with it. Same chart layout. It's very, very last charts, but you can, as a teaser, you can share it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Feel free if you have something now. I'm happy to show a teaser.
But anyway, what do you think about this?
Yeah, I mean, it makes a lot of sense. Stables getting supplied, often leading to tops, or sorry, going way down, often leading to stagnancy. And when it goes up like this, you're often seeing some big price bumps. So I like it. I think it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I want to dig into this a little more. The Sky Savings total supply seems to diverge a little at times. I wonder if that means anything. But yeah, Ethereum seems to thrive whenever the total stable supplied goes up. That's
Yes.
very clear from this chart.
There is some, I don't know, it's not, I'm not sure if it's a reliable theory, but Ethereum is de facto hub of DeFi. It means lending, decentralized lending, borrowing on a big scale, and where people who has money prefer to deposit it. There are other maybe chains where you can get bigger yields, but there are much more risks in these other chains or L2s on top of Ethereum. So Ethereum, where more liquidity, you're sure if the market crashes and there is liquidations, it will be processed properly. There will be no shutdowns. No protocol here will get bust, or unlikely it will get bust, like Maker or other, even Compound, not being maintained still. The system set up properly. Yeah. And there are new protocols which are more risky, and this is what I mean when people start extracting from here and put it in more risky protocols, chasing higher yields but taking more risks. Still on Ethereum, it's, I think, the place to go for this kind of activity. So it's not a coincidence maybe when so much stables deposit and working in the system, it does bring Ethereum price above. Yeah.
Yeah, this is great analysis, Maxim. I love seeing some of the more unique approaches that you have. And this certainly is one I haven't looked at in a while, but I know can be very valuable. Test, test, test.
Oh, I'm much louder. I can bring my far away. Okay, I'm sitting on more far away, okay?
Yeah, you sound good to me, Maxim.
Well, it's not only, I give more power to your voice.
More power.
Yeah.
Is this okay?
For me, it still sounds the same.
So I sound quiet. Trying to think if there's anything I can do on my soundboard. Test, test, test. Any different? Did okay.
Yeah, I
I
moved a bit more far away now. It should be okay.
All right. I will really look into tweaking some of these audio issues going in next time, so we don't have it in the middle of the stream. But thanks again for everyone who is sticking with this and being patient. As long as I'm listenable, that's good enough for me. I want to look at a few other things while we're here. The positive versus negative sentiment, as I update to today, it's very neutral for Bitcoin, so not much polarizing opinion going on. We will see more polarizing opinions for Ethereum, as well as XRP and Chainlink. So you
Yeah.
can see Ethereum as it's nearing that $4,000 level. Big
Oh,
positive
wait.
spike.
Is it the
Yeah.
formula which we're using sometimes internally where you take positive sentiment minus negative and divide by total? Is it? Oh, yeah. Cool.
Just very simple, positive divided by negative.
Okay, it also works. I just noticed, I did not use it for some time, how strong it did correlate with the top right before.
Yeah.
This. However, keep in mind, for our listen, you saw there was one top before, also quite strong, just in beginning of a rally. I mean, like a few weeks ago. Wait. 6th
Yeah.
of 6th of July or 8th of July, if I see it correctly on chat.
8th of
Yeah, this
July,
one
yeah.
was also
So
strong. So it's don't take it like okay, any strong spike immediately sell everything, but take it as a part of analysis framework. On this chart at least, you can see that all major tops came with very strong z-score of 3. Today I was
agreed.
talking on yesterday too with our data scientists. They teach me a few things. Z-score.
Yeah. It's really just like social dominance or MVRV, where the bigger the spike, the more confident it is that
Yeah,
the
some sort of this,
reversals.
yeah.
Yeah. So especially with the negatives too, you can see the bottom right here. I remember being on the late June stream and
I
talking
remember
about
it was
how this,
scary actually. I was
yeah.
quite concerned here.
And now we've almost doubled. I mean, we got to very close to going below 2,000, and the price is up about 81% since then. So these bottom signals where there's a lot of negativity and a high ratio of bearish comments versus bullish, they often bode very well for Bitcoin's upcoming price movement. And I think that as of late with this positive spike, we have to be a little bit concerned.
Yeah,
When we
a
look,
little bit. We will see what will happen by the end of the day. US session is now underway. It's we're
yeah.
just in the beginning. So we're not like, what is this? Was it Bitcoin?
I just switched to XRP while you
Ah,
were
Ripple.
talking.
Okay, that looks more concerned.
Yeah, so this one's a major spike. Doesn't
Yeah.
mean that XRP isn't a good long-term play. We know many of you like XRP, and sometimes we'll talk bearish about it. It isn't because we have anything against it or skin in the game against it. But XRP's huge positive versus negative surge right now
Yeah.
is concerning, considering this is the biggest spike we've seen since June 10th, and that ended up being a top, as we saw, as was this one and some of these. These were all as XRP's prices were going down. So generally, this one as well. Generally, when you see huge spikes like this with way more bullish comments than bearish, it's because there's a very concerning level of FOMO, and especially such a sudden one like this after the 12-ish% jump that we saw, that's going to often foreshadow a price top.
Actually, I would recommend and remind myself too, every time before making decision. Well, never take decision when you're hungry or tired. That's in the first place. But also, it's a simple formula and it's a simple metric. If you don't have it, you saw how we do it, or ask in the Discord or in our Telegram. Every time before making decisions, look into it. I remember it saved a few times. Maybe you can save in the future too. Thanks, Brian, for bringing it up. Yeah, I didn't look into it for some time.
Let me see. Link really quick.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, good. Link Marines. Is it still the thing? Link Marines?
Oh yeah, they
Yeah.
absolutely still refer to them as Link Marines, proudly
Okay.
so. And as the price has pushed toward $20, you can see the spike that's come with it. It isn't a perfect,
Yeah.
type of
Uh,
signal. This was an anti-signal where we actually
I was
jumped
just
up.
looking to it. I think they're cheating. There must be some bots. Well, Link Marines not without reason.
It could be.
Yeah.
There are assets like Link and Solana that have such an overwhelming amount of social media presence that it's tough to tell what's real and what's not sometimes. But yeah, overall, this big jump did coincide with much more bullish sentiment than usual. It's not to the level of this one, but this one was kind of meaningless, perhaps due to some bot activity. We know there are a bunch of legitimate Link Marines, but there are some bots that get mixed in with them. And so I don't know if it's the strongest signal. This bearish spike right here was a very good buy signal for what it's worth.
Can you check
This one,
Ava? Can you check Ava?
yeah.
It was
I don't
quite
know if
popular.
Aave is talked about nearly as often, but you do see a very big
Ah,
spike
okay.
2 days ago.
Okay. But yeah, social volume probably is not so big. Okay.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of any. Oh, Doge, because it had a bit of a
Yes.
moderate spike as
Yes.
well. And meme coins have such a heavy precedent with social volume, but this is pretty moderate. It is on the high side. There is some bullishness, but it isn't to an extreme level.
Okay.
Trump, while we're here.
And then check a bonk. Because they did smart move and community is very active after doing bonk fun. Is it bonk fun, Max? Is it called like this? Yeah, like a answer to pump fund when they decided to do their own thing. Aha. Okay.
Not much going on with Bonk. I
Actually, the
think,
price too is quite suppressed. Not bad. So maybe no financial advice. I would look here when I'm looking at the chart, knowing the history and see that everything is bouncing, but this one is suffering. This one is bunked. Okay, but not financial advice. I'm not too strong into meme coins.
yeah, I'm checking some of the trending coins because I know some meme coins have snuck their way into the top 10 as of late. These are obviously the micro coins because we're going by true percentage. So there are a lot of coins that barely ever get talked about and suddenly they get a little discussion. So they have obscenely high social dominance. But if you look at the main ones, it's all about Ethereum, Link, and XRP and Bitcoin. Not a surprise at all because the top caps have been dominating headlines as of late and they've been surging above some of the more mid and low caps. I know
And
they're, yeah.
also, from what I see, as you're scrolling, if we see in thermometer, it's none of them is super heated area, right?
Super heated area.
I mean, like not super positive, not super bullish sentiment. Far away.
Correct. Yeah. They're all kind of neutral, a little bit bearish. Monero being back in the news is always interesting,
Yeah,
but
Monero
its
also,
price
also price action is kind of
very low. So I'm curious if this may be a bottom signal with this big social volume spike. Let me
you.
see if I can check,
If it's now
validate
or
it.
after a few days when no one talks about anymore, but it definitely looks like preparation for a bottom. Yeah.
Exactly. So I wonder if XMR is a sneaky play right now.
There must be some bad news. Bottoms always come with bad news. I know that Roman Storm, he got a kind of not final decision, but preliminary decision in his case for Tornado Cash. If it's related to Monero, I cannot say, but this price action is, wow, really surprising, yeah?
Yeah, this is surprising. I mean, the positive versus negative sentiment for Monero has just gone down and down and down as time has gone on. So it's supporting what we see on the trending coins list.
Yeah.
MIM, I don't know as much about. Magic Internet Money.
Oh, Magic and Money. I know this project.
Yeah,
But
some refer to this as Bitcoin. The boomers, especially.
it could be, yeah.
Cardano, as I mentioned, it's up there. And it actually is on a pretty big price run. at the moment. So it's worth checking the sentiment really quick. Yeah, a really big spike actually. It didn't seem to coincide with a further drop. This was actually toward the bottom. I wonder if it was just a retail-driven dip buy.
Well, I think if you look closer, like if you take 3 months, or is it already 3 months?
Yeah, this is actually 6 months.
6
So
months.
I'll
If you
go
take 3
to
months,
3.
probably it was in the middle of the first because it's end of the day metric should have happened in the middle of first pump from the bottom.
Interesting.
There should have been maybe Hoskinson gave some nice interview somewhere. He's a good speaker, so I don't know. Or maybe he came out with one of his crazy ideas.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. But either way, it jumped right after that bullish spike, and it's closing back in on 80 cents and above. So
Yeah.
Cardano is definitely one that people are looking at a lot. Solana back in the top 10 as well, as its price has been growing a bit, lagging behind some of the other top caps, but it's still up there. And then Nexo and Tether round out the top 10. So many different coins, especially top caps, that are really dominating right now. It's been a while since we've seen so many of the top 20 circulating around the top 10 trending coins like this. So I'm interested to see where we go as we get into mid-August. My recap is that Bitcoin does look a bit concerning right now due to some lagging whale accumulation that hasn't really gone up much in the past 3 weeks. The MVRV being still quite high for the long term, and mostly altcoins going on a run while leaving Bitcoin behind. This is often the time when a lot of retailers abandon Bitcoin and just jump into the latest shiny coin, assuming that they're getting on the right ride and they don't need Bitcoin anymore. And then we suddenly see a bit of a retrace or a collapse. And it may not happen right away, but I think Maxim and I agree that we are in a bit of a danger zone in that respect right now. Brother Balance, any thoughts you want to add as we close off the show and head into the weekend here?
Would be nice to see 4,3 for Ethereum. That would, if we get there, the sentiment, intensity, and actually our metric, simple one, would reveal the story if it's at the top or not. I'm just afraid that we will get stuck somewhere 4,1 or even now go down, and then again, what is going on?
Right.
But this is my thoughts at the moment. I'm just sharing my thoughts. And for me, goal or like target was 4,3, or between 450 and 4,3. We are now in the target zone. So you can imagine I'm like sitting on my hands. Don't know what to do next. But the good thing, did you analyze if on a Bitcoin side, network realized profit loss or age consumed or
Yeah, it's pretty
movement of
silent.
coins? Do we see it?
There isn't much going on
Okay.
for Bitcoins right now. It's been very flat. I'll show you just so you can see what I showed before you got on the call. Yeah, so this is what network realized profit loss looks like. Very dormant at the moment. There are some mini spikes, but nothing that stands out compared to the last 4 months or so.
So I will look into this too. Just thinking like this, if alts are pumping and professional players or those who are at least one cycle into the market, they know what it means. So they might be tempted, or they should be tempted, to move out of Bitcoin as well. Or move to Bitcoin their profits from altcoins. So we should see here some movements. If we don't, well, then we need to make a more complex analysis and stories based on maybe several altcoins, which we try to do now already, the sentiment and the sentiment formula. And then the prices, how many is it broad, outperforming, only just few selected, which also reveals how strong is the greed power. Yeah. And if it's only related to coins, which are supposed to do, how do you call it, when you buy it for your treasury? There is a word for it. Like MicroStrategy, and then now for Ethereum, a lot of them. What is the term? Anyway, if only those coins who are suspectful or who are participating in it are pumping, then you know what is narrative. It's only because speculators expect and bet upfront or pushing price higher for those assets who will be bought to have on the balances of all these financial vehicles. Then it's a story which end up very bad, yeah? No doubts about it. And will end up probably soon. But if it's a broader, also like a Memecoins pumping up and DeFi, altcoins like older, a new one going up, okay, this broad market might mean something more less risky for us, especially if Bitcoins start going above 120. That's the best sign, but it's not trying yet much. So we might see if it's a narrow market or specific narrative, and with too much stories around why it's so cool, while we'll continue, then we'll need to pull out the plug. Yeah, this is what is my head now.
Yeah, I like your take. I think that we are probably close to a big local top. I think people are getting a bit too confident, especially with some of these big social dominance spikes and FOMO spikes with Ethereum, XRP, Chainlink. They all have different stories and reasons for surging. But most, as is usual, most of the FOMO is related directly to the price, and we all know that. So
always been,
always has been. So yeah, I think that's all, folks. I really appreciate you jumping in for the second half of the call. Balance, you really added to the conversation here. So
well, I'm glad. Always pleasure to talk to you.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I'm looking forward to the next one. And in the meantime, folks, be safe. Let's watch for some turnaround signals. We'll keep you updated on our socials, and enjoy your weekend in the meantime. Take care, Brother Balance, and thanks for running the show, Balrash.
Yeah. Stay safe, Brian. Thanks, Max.